Hey everyone, this is Shannon with Smokin the Wild, and on today's episode, we're gonna be making venison meatloaf muffins. But before we go anywhere, this is not your Grandpappy's deer recipe, I promise you. Put on your flip-flops, buckle in tight, because we're fixing to get wild. Ah, there he is right there. All right, let's jump right into it. Now, this is going to be a venison / breakfast sausage meatloaf. Now, if you want to make a loaf, go right at it. I'm choosing to use muffin pans, these deep, wide muffin pans, for several reasons. One, it cooks faster. And when I'm on a time budget cooking for my family, I mean, my kids are hungry, you know, I've got to do it as fast as I possibly can. So this is one way it allows me to. Plus, I like a level of spice that nobody in my house enjoys. So my wife's just a little bit below that, and then our kids are even below that. So by doing this, it allows me to season appropriately for me, for my wife, and our 3 girls. And so that's another reason why I recommend it. But so basically what you're gonna do is, depending on how many people you're gonna be cooking for, you know, I'll probably eat 2 of these. My wife will probably eat 1, and the kids, depending on how they feel that day, they could eat 4, they could eat 40, or they could eat 1. So nonetheless, just gonna be dependent about who you're cooking for. But take you some cooking spray, and I'm a huge fan of olive oil or duck fat, but today I'm gonna be using olive oil. And you're just gonna coat the inside of these muffin pans, okay? Because you don't want this sticking later. All right, so we've got the gloves on, and I've got 2 pounds of ground deer meat, and I'm gonna get to that in just a minute. And then I've got 1 package of just normal, regular breakfast sausage. Now, I'm an ingredient reader, and I don't like MSG, and so I don't buy products that have MSG, so I'm real careful on the sausage that I buy. If I'm not already making it, I make sure that the sausage doesn't have MSG. You do what you want, but we're gonna go ahead and add the deer meat in here. Now, speaking of that, on Smokin the Wild, if I tell you it's deer meat, it's deer meat. It's not actually ground beef. If I tell you it's pheasant, it's pheasant. It's not chicken, and the list goes on and on and on. If I tell you that it's regular breakfast sausage that I bought at the store, that's because that's what it is. I'm getting ready to go on a hog hunt because we're out of hog sausage, wild hog sausage. But for today, I'm going to substitute with store-bought. All right, so we're going to put about just 1 little roll of here in here, okay? And you can see right there, we've got it going in the bowl there. Now for this particular recipe, you're welcome to use, obviously, because it's your meal, cook how you want. I'm not going to use breadcrumbs, and I'm not going to use panko crumbs, okay? I'm actually going to use pork rinds, okay? This is one of my favorite. I eat it all the time. You talk about low carb, tastes great. You can't go wrong with pork. This is actually a chili and salt that I think I got at Costco. But what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to take a gallon baggie, this wooden spoon. I'm going for anywhere from 2 to 3 cups. I go ahead and make 4 cups just in case. And I put them in this baggie, and I'm going to show you exactly now how to pulverize pork rinds. So it ends up just like that. Go ahead and add the pork rinds. Then the next thing I'm going to add is I'm going to add about a half cup, or roughly a half cup of heavy cream. Now, if you don't want to use cream, you could use water, but I'm going to add just a little bit of that to this mixture, okay? Then the next thing I'm going to add is 1 can of tomato paste. Get that in there. I might have actually add just a little bit more. I want this to have a certain texture. I don't want it to be too wet, but I don't want it to be too dry. I think that'll be good. We got that going. All right, the next thing I'm going to do is I went out in the garden and I cut some cilantro right from our garden, and I'm going to add about a half of cup. All right, we got that going. Then the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take about 2 tablespoons of chopped garlic. I cheated and bought a little jar of it. Yeah, about 2 tablespoons, give or take. All right. Then the next thing I'm gonna add is I've sauteed some onions right on the stove over here, and it's about a cup. And what you wanna do is you wanna cook the onions in bacon, which we're gonna get to in just a minute. Everything goes good with bacon, all right? Then you're gonna let the onions cool. So we don't wanna brown it, get them crispy rather. You just wanna kind of brown this, get the bacon a little bit done, but not crispy. The rest of it we're gonna save for the very end. So just get that good. And the reason why I'm not putting this on the smoker, it's already smoked bacon. Not really a need in it to do that, unless you just want that extra smoke flavor. But it's already smoked. So we're just getting this, kind of break it up. Then what we're gonna do when it's ready, we're gonna turn the fire off, scoop out the bacon, leave the drippings in there. We're gonna put the bacon over in this bowl, and then it'll give us some grease to saute a little bit of the onion. Now we're gonna add the onions, all right? Get those in there. They've got a little bit of a smokiness because of that hickory smoked bacon, all right? Then I've chopped up some bell pepper, and this is about a cup of bell pepper. You're gonna add that to the mix, all right? Now again, this is a little heartier than just a normal meatloaf, okay? Then what I'm gonna do, let's go over here. I'm gonna add just probably about a half a teaspoon or half a tablespoon of oregano. Again, don't worry if you can't keep up with the recipe as I talk. Don't worry, it's down in the description. So I'm gonna add about a half a tablespoon of oregano. All right. Then I'm going to take just a little bit of Bearded Butcher Hollywood blend, about a tablespoon. And I've just done this enough, I can pretty well gauge. I'm waiting for somebody to bet me that I'm wrong about the dosage. Then I'm gonna take just a little bit of cattle call seasoning and add that to the mix. Boy, you can actually smell the aroma coming off of this. So speaking of that, I wanna go back to the deer meat. It's a deer that I shot, and on the Smokin the Wild, you'll never hear me say harvested. When I go hunting, I'm not driving a combine. I actually hunt with a bow or a gun. The deer that I shot is the deer, from the time I recovered it in the field, aged the meat, I process all of my own game, especially deer. This is a deer that I know exactly what happened to it, okay? But more importantly, when I processed this deer, I actually added pork fat, but not just any pork fat. And we're gonna have an episode coming up in the future showing exactly how I process deer meat, especially ground meat. But basically what I do is I take the deer meat, I grind it, then I grind the added fat that I'm going to add to the grind, and then I smoke that fat for a little while. Again, it gets not a real long time, but it gets that smokiness in that fat. Then I regrind so that it combines together, and then I freeze it. So I'm telling you, everybody that tries that can't believe that it's deer meat. The aroma, everything about it, the taste, the texture, everything, it's fantastic. So that's what we've got going on here. I am gonna take just a little bit of sea salt, probably about a tablespoon. Yeah, that's about a tablespoon. Add it to the mix, all right? Then I'm gonna take 2 eggs. Okay, gonna add that to the mix. And then what I'm going to do is I am going to take about a cup. You can use the really fine powdered Parmesan cheese if you want. I just prefer the fresh shaved kind, but you're gonna add about a cup of Parmesan and add it to the mix. All right, we got that going. And I have one final ingredient. We are gonna take a tablespoon of Dijon mustard, not a whole lot, okay? Doesn't require a lot, and we're gonna get that in the mix. Now what I'm gonna do with my gloves on is I'm gonna get in here and I'm gonna get dirty. We're gonna get this mixed up with the mixers that God gave me, and let's get started. Okay, I've got all this mixed up. I wanna go back to the ground deer meat. You might be asking yourself, what's so important about all that? How the deer is taken care of is no different than how the cow's taken care of, the pig, the chicken, all of the protein that you're gonna eat. really no difference than any food that you're going to be eating. You and your family, you should want to care about what you and your family are going to consume. And so that's why I take a lot of care and a lot of pride in not only how I cook and what I cook, but the ingredients that I use. It's vitally important. Plus, it makes it taste so much better. All right, so now what we're going to do is we're going to take our muffin pans, all right? And I'm just going to take these and mix it up just a little bit more. And you're going to gauge, you know, look at the holes in the muffin pan, and you're going to kind of gauge, and you're just going to pull out enough, and you're just going to come in here and just start filling. Okay, I originally started off with 3 muffin pans, but as it turns out, we have one daughter that's not here tonight, so I'd rather have more out here. But as it turns out, 2 packages of deer meat, 2 pounds, and a package of breakfast sausage filled 2 of these muffin pans, these deep weld muffin pans. So now, as I told you, I also, if you'll notice, this one's black in color and this one's in gray, because this is going to be my wife and the 2 daughters that are at home, and this is going to be mine because I'm going to spice this up a little bit more. Then we're going to do something really cool to both of them. So let's go ahead and go back to this Bearded Butcher Hollywood, and I'm just going to go ahead and put some more rub on each. All right. I told you guys I use this a lot, and I wasn't kidding. So we got that done. All right. No rhyme or reason to it. Then we're going to take some more cattle call and just kind of do at the top. Again, not too much, just a little bit. Now, what I'm going to do on mine is I have some New Mexico Hatch Green Chile that I actually roasted, peeled, and froze and chopped up. And I've got some green chili in here. So what I'm going to do on mine is I am actually going to top the top of each one of mine. I'm probably going to sneak some in on my wife's. I do it all the time. She just doesn't know it. She says she doesn't like spice, but she doesn't know that she does. She's not laughing very hard right now, folks, but she's married to me, so that's why. So anyway, so we're going to get these topped off. I'm not going to do all of them. And if you're going to put green chili on yours, roasted green chili, you can just take your spoon and just kind of force it down into the meat. Boom, done. All right. Now for the next step. All right, before I start this last step, before the meat goes to the grill, I'm actually going to take the muffin pans and I'm going to stick them in the refrigerator because I want them to stay firm while I start this next step. All right, I'm going to start this last step, and if you'll notice one key thing on the meatloaf muffins that I did not add, I didn't add ketchup to the top. And if that's what you want to do, that's cool, that's fine, even if you use sugar-free or if you're on that diet. I personally think ketchup is boring. So I'm a big glaze guy. So actually what I'm going to do, and I know some of you are going to raise eyebrows and go, what is going on with this Shannon guy from Smokin the Wild? When I show you what I'm about to show you, I am actually going to use blueberry preserves, okay? And I'm going to take about 2/3 of a cup of blueberry preserves, okay? I'm going to add it to my saucepan, all right? Set that aside. Then I'm going to take 2/3 cup of balsamic vinegar. All right. Get that going here. Maybe not quite 2/3 cup. Okay. Get that going. And then I'm going to take about a tablespoon of sugar-free barbecue sauce. If you want to use regular barbecue sauce, that's cool. Do what you want. Actually, I'm going to go ahead and add 2, just so I can have that hint of the smokiness of that barbecue. And then I went back out to our garden and I clipped some fresh rosemary. So I'm going to take this rosemary, and as I'm peeling it off the stem, I'm just going to squeeze it so that it releases the oils coming off the rosemary. And I know this sounds like an odd combination, but I assure you, I've played around with this recipe. It's absolutely phenomenal. And all the rosemary it's actually going to get infused in this, and you will be able to taste just a hint of that rosemary. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take it over to the stove. I'm going to put it up on high, get it to temperature, and then we're going to take this and glaze the meatloaf muffins. Takes it to a whole new level. Let's get this burner going. I'm going to put it on high. Now again, I know this is an odd combination to some of you, but I promise you, the multi-layers of flavor that you're going to get out of this on that meatloaf is just unbelievable. You've got the tartness and the tanginess of the balsamic vinegar. You're also going to get just that hint of that sugar and that little bit of tartness that blueberries can tend to have. And then you've got just the amazing taste and flavor of the rosemary, all that combined. Now again, with any glaze, tasting it straight can be a little bit overbearing, but once you get it put on that meat and people taste it, it's gonna blow their minds. Got that heated up, let me just make sure. That's really, really good. I think I could drink that. Let's put it on here on the heat source just a little bit longer. All right, we're ready to go. And all you're gonna do is you're just gonna simply take your silicone brush and you're just gonna lightly glaze the top of these muffins, meatloaf muffins. Doesn't that sound funny? Meatloaf muffins. I kind of like the way that sounds. Venison meatloaf muffins. All right, doesn't take a whole lot. All right, let's get these done over here. Again, just the tanginess and the sweetness, that combination, along with the garlic that's in these meatloaf muffins. I said it right, meatloaf muffins. I'll get that down. It's such an unbelievable flavor combination. It's just truly special, really. Again, as I told you before, this isn't your Grandpappy's deer recipe. All right, so now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take this out to the grill and we're gonna come back in and prepare the vegetable. Okay, I've got the venison meatloaf muffins out on the grill, and I want to let you know that today what I'm cooking on, I'm getting the temperature up to about 350 degrees. I'm cooking over hardwood, real charcoal, and I've got a log of pecan wood in there. Now, I want to make this point very, very clear. I just want to see you cooking. I want to see you enjoy it. I want to see you producing amazing tasting foods that take you from saying, I can't do that, to wow, I just did that. So whatever you're comfortable cooking on, if it's a pellet grill, fantastic. If it's a propane grill, okay. If it's just your oven, I want you to cook on whatever it is that you feel comfortable cooking. I just happen to be a big fan of Hasty Bake and I love cooking on because they're easy to cook on. But whatever means you have, by all means, take advantage of it. Don't let that keep you from cooking. Cooking is a blast. The other thing that we're gonna make sure that we get those venison meatloaf muffins, that cracks me up to say that, to an internal temperature of 160 degrees. And I can't emphasize this point enough. The only way you're gonna be able to do that is by having a meat thermometer. I happen to have the one I'm using today is from the Bearded Butchers. I love it. I've got a variety of them, but today that's what I'm using. So my family eats a lot of asparagus, okay? So that's what I'm gonna do. And you know, if you remember earlier, I sauteed those onions with bacon. So that's why I ask you to separate the bacon out from the bacon grease for the oil, because we're actually gonna use this in the asparagus. Now, you don't have to cut asparagus. If you've ever snapped green beans as a kid, you can do the same thing with asparagus. Just don't use the lower end. And by the way, I forgot, I'm gonna put some olive oil in here. Okay, I've already got some minced garlic in here, so you're gonna put some, I'm gonna go ahead and put some more in there. And just snap these boogers, as many as you want, and get them going in here. Just like green beans. Now I wanna take you back to earlier when I suggested that you don't overcook the bacon. In fact, just get it almost the consistency of like Canadian bacon. So the reason why is I'm gonna go ahead and add some bacon. You can't go wrong with bacon. Who doesn't like bacon? You're gonna add this bacon in here to this asparagus, okay? Flavoring, so forth and so on, plus bacon's just good by itself, isn't it? And then what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take this and I'm gonna go stick it on the grill. It'll take probably about, give or take 12, 15 minutes, the consistency that we like asparagus. You talk about a meal in and of itself. This is it right here. So let's go check on the venison meatloaf muffins, and we're gonna put the asparagus on the grill. Cracks me up to say that. Let's go. Oh, don't that pretty. Oh, that smells amazing. Let's go ahead and put that asparagus on here. I'm gonna go ahead and probe this. We're setting at 112 degrees, so we got just quite a bit of ways to go. But oh man, that is so pretty. It smells so, so good. All right, let's do some checking here. Oh my goodness, would you look at that right there? My goodness, don't that look pretty. All right, let's get this cleared off. Let's do a little temping here. Oh, we're about the temperature. Oh yeah, we're about there. All right, so now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take this Parmesan and I'm just going to sprinkle it on here. Won't be long, just a couple more minutes and these are gonna be done. We're gonna take them out, take them inside, let them rest, kind of firm back up, let those juices flow down. This is some kind of pretty right there, all right? And I saved the seasoning for this for the last. Take some of the cattle call, get that mixed in there. We are about ready to serve the family. Man, don't that look pretty? All right. All right, so I just put the Parmesan cheese just a few minutes ago. It's time to go get the what? The venison meatloaf muffins and the asparagus. Bring it in here. I'm gonna let them rest for just about 5 to 10 minutes. We're gonna plate it, taste it, call the family down. It's gonna be a great night. Stay tuned. All right. Got one more pan to get. We'll be right back. Meatloaf's flying, stay with us. Last pan. That looks absolutely amazing. So like I said, we're gonna let this, what? The venison meatloaf muffins, we're gonna let them rest for just a little bit. And I'm gonna take my trusty little mini spatula and we're gonna plate, taste it. Man, I can't wait. All right, it's been about 10 minutes. We've let this rest. If you remember, I had you spray the muffin pan with the olive oil spray so that they wouldn't stick. So you take the spatula and just kind of go around the edges to kind of break it loose. Oh my goodness, it looks amazing. You can smell the aroma is just unbelievable on this. You can just smell, I mean, the green chilies were already roasted, but now they have the smokiness, just the goodness. I can smell I can just smell the glaze. I can smell the rub. Can't wait to taste it. Let's go over here. Let's get a little bit of this bacon infused asparagus. Oh, can't wait to try this. Watch this. Oh my goodness. Oh. That is incredible. I knew it would be. I've made this before, but that asparagus, I can't wait for you guys to try this recipe. I'm telling you, from the prep time, this took a little bit longer. It took about 35 minutes. It was easy to make. It's simple. It tastes amazing. It's got the complexity of the flavors. If you're a person that has a desire to cook, if you'll stick with this, I promise you, we're gonna teach you how to cook. I can't wait to see the look on my kids' face and my wife's face when they taste this. There's nothing better serving your family through great tasting food. If you haven't subscribed yet, be sure to smash that subscribe button, get the bell notifications for the next episode, and I really appreciate you watching.
Dad, that was really good.